In this video, we'll unpack the elements of running a campaign to be a member of Parliament in Canada. We'll talk about what a campaign is, the kind of activities involved in a campaign, and the roles of the different people on a campaign team. The Canada Elections Act permits candidates to campaign in federal elections. A campaign is an organized effort to secure the nomination and election of someone seeking to be a member of Parliament. The general approach of a campaign to be a member of Parliament involves three key activities: communications, identifying people who support your campaign, and getting out the vote. That work might sound simple, but in 2015 there were an average of 76,745 registered voters per electoral district. That's a lot of people to reach. The work of connecting with potential voters, identifying who supports you, and making sure they make it to the polls is a massive exercise in door knocking, data management, volunteer management, and communications. One thing candidates can do early on is find a talented campaign manager to oversee this work and manage the team. Before we get to the campaign team's work, we should talk about the kind of resources a campaign typically needs: money and volunteers. Money pays for things like a campaign office space, signage, promotional materials, a website, wages for senior campaign positions, and meals for your volunteers. In the 2015 election, the average campaign raised and spent between $70,000 and $90,000. Local party members and supporters are likely to support your campaign with time and money, but you shouldn't just depend on them. You'll also be expected to ask your own friends, family, and network to support your campaign by volunteering and financially contributing to your campaign. The party's national campaign will also be making decisions about which electoral districts it will invest in with its money, staff, volunteers, and visits from the party leader. Consider asking for additional support from the national campaign and be ready to demonstrate how that investment is likely to pay off for the party and what you're already doing to make your campaign a success. As you start to secure the resources that will fuel your campaign can begin to execute some essential campaign activities. Making people aware of your candidacy is an important first step for candidates to take. A strong communications team can help you with that. Today, campaigns rely on new and traditional communication strategies in order to get the word out about their candidates. When it comes to new media, you'll want people on your team who understand how to get the most out of social media, how to create and place digital advertising, and how to create videos that can capture the attention of people you might otherwise miss. When it comes to traditional communication strategies, you'll also want people on your campaign who can help you write speeches and prepare for debates, get coverage from local television, radio, and newspapers, and put up lawn signs. Usually, campaigns also need to be prepared to reach out directly to voters. The main reason political campaigns conduct door-to-door canvassing is to ask voters for their support and to keep a record of those who support the campaign. Elections Canada will give all registered candidates a copy of the voters list for their electoral district. Most candidates will use this list when they go door-to-door during a campaign to keep track of who they've met and who they haven't met, and make note of whether a voter intends to support them on election day or if they remain undecided. This is where data management comes in. With tens of thousands of voters in a district, the campaign team will need people and software to organize the information about who voters intend to support. Campaigns will then use that data to pull the vote. It is the responsibility of candidates and parties to protect the personal information they have under their control. Political parties must inform Canadians on how their personal information will be collected, protected, and used. As Election Day approaches, the campaign's priorities tend to shift from identifying its supporters to making sure those supporters make it to the polls and cast their votes, often called get out the vote or pulling the vote. In past elections, candidates limited their get out the vote efforts to the advanced polling days and the election day itself. But voters can also cast their ballots early if they vote by special ballot. This includes voting at the Elections Canada office in your electoral district. So, your campaign can begin pulling the vote as soon as the Elections Canada office opens in your district. From the moment you decide to run until Election Day itself, running in a federal election is a challenging and rewarding experience. It takes not just a candidate, but a team of people who are committed to playing their part in the democratic process. To learn more about being a candidate, be sure to explore all of the resources that Elections Canada and the Inspire Democracy program have on this topic. You can find links to those resources in the description of the video below.